Welcome everyone to This Explainer. Today, we're going to slow things down a bit and talk about your absolute greatest creative tool, your materials. We're going to empower you with the exact knowledge you need to make smarter, values-based clothing choices by decoding both natural and man-made fibers. So whether you're a fashion student or just someone who really wants to understand what they wear, well, you're in exactly the right place.
Let's dive right in with a simple question. When was the last time you truly read a clothing label? And I don't just mean checking the size or looking for washing instructions. I mean, do you actually know what those tiny little words mean for your body, your wallet, and, crucially, the planet? Because learning to read that story, that is your very first step toward real fashion freedom.
To get us there, here's our roadmap for today. We'll start with asking, what is a textile fiber? Then we'll cover natural cellulosic fibers, followed by man-made textile fibers. After that, we'll do a head-to-head comparison, give you a guide to fashion freedom, and wrap up with a special note just for the fashion students out there.
All right, Section 1. What is a textile fiber? Let's cover the basics.
Think of it this way. If a garment is a building, the textile fiber is the brick. It's the most basic thread-like unit of a fabric. Literally everything starts right here. Now, today we're focusing specifically on cellulosic fibers. That just simply means they originate from plants. They're made of cellulose, which is the main building block of plant cell walls. Moving right along to Section 2, natural cellulosic fibers. Let's get back to nature. Cotton is an absolute giant in this space. It makes up roughly 27% of all global textile production. And we love it, right? It's highly breathable, it's absorbent, and it's completely biodegradable, meaning it breaks down naturally in the soil. But there's a catch. Conventional cotton is incredibly thirsty. To put it into perspective, it requires up to 10,000 liters of water just to produce a single kilogram of fiber. That is a staggering amount of water. Now, let's compare that everyday cotton with linen. Linen is actually one of humanity's oldest textiles, sourced straight from the flax plant. It's the strongest natural cellulosic fiber in the entire world, and it actually keeps you even cooler than cotton does. But, there's always a trade-off. It wrinkles very, very dramatically, so if you want a really sharp, crisp look, you're gonna have to become best friends with your iron. Then we have jute. Honestly, it's kind of the forgotten hero of the textile world, but it is an absolute environmental powerhouse. Let's look at its life cycle. The plant grows incredibly fast, and it requires almost zero water or pesticides. Plus, while it's growing, it acts like a giant sponge, absorbing huge amounts of carbon dioxide from the air. And finally, when you're done wearing it, it biodegrades completely back into the earth. It's this fantastic, really earthy material that's perfect for bags and accessories. Finally, let's talk about bamboo. The plant itself is basically a miracle. It can grow up to 90 centimeters in a single day. And the fabric it creates is thermoregulating, which means it keeps you cool in the summer and warm in the winter. However, turning that really hard bamboo stalk into a super soft t-shirt requires some pretty heavy chemical processing. So while the plant itself is highly sustainable, the factory process has to be managed really carefully to protect the environment. Okay, Section 3, man-made textile fibers. Let's look at the science in your wardrobe. Now, man-made definitely doesn't automatically mean bad. Take Lyocell, which you might know by the brand name Tencel. It's totally the eco-warrior of man-made fibers. It starts as wood pulp from eucalyptus trees, and then it enters a closed-loop processing system. Now, students, this is a really crucial term. Closed loop means 99.5% of the chemicals and solvents used are captured and reused again and again. Almost nothing escapes into the environment, and the result is a premium, completely biodegradable garment. Alongside Lyocell, we also have Viscose and Modal. Viscose was actually the very first artificial silk. It drapes beautifully and holds rich colors, but its main weakness is that it loses up to half its strength when it gets wet. Modal, on the other hand, is sourced from beech trees. It is buttery soft, it resists shrinking, and it's basically the undisputed king of premium loungewear. Both of these are incredibly luxurious, but they do require highly controlled chemical processing to keep everything safe. But then there's polyester. Polyester is the absolute, undisputed king of global textiles. It accounts for an astonishing 52% of all production. That means literally more than half of the world's clothing is made from it. But unlike the other fibers we've discussed so far, it is completely synthetic, meaning it doesn't come from a plant at all. Let's trace its life cycle. It actually begins with petroleum chemicals. These are the exact same plastics used to make water bottles. Through a chemical process called polymerization, it becomes this highly durable, wrinkle-free fabric. But the environmental consequences here are severe. Every single time you wash polyester, it sheds tiny, invisible plastic particles called microplastics straight into our water systems. And when it's eventually thrown away, it just sits in a landfill for hundreds of years.
That brings us to Section 4, the head-to-head comparison. Let's see what really matters.
When we map all these fibers out side by side like this, one clear truth emerges. There is no single perfect fiber. There are only trade-offs. For excellent breathability, natural cellulosics are the clear winners. If you want ultimate durability and wrinkle resistance, well, synthetics like polyester take the crown. But when we look at eco-impact, it's a different story. Synthetics create microplastics, while naturals and closed-loop man-made fibers are fully biodegradable. It's all about balancing those features.
Ultimately, your choice really comes down to your daily needs and lifestyle. If you live in a hot, humid climate or you happen to have sensitive skin, you should really prioritize breathable, hypoallergenic natural fibers like cotton and linen. But if you're a busy student and you just need low-maintenance clothes that you can wash quickly without ever touching an iron, synthetic blends or man-made cellulosics are going to be your most practical choice.
All right, Section 5, Guide to Fashion Freedom. Let's talk about making smart choices.
When you check that inner label while shopping, here are the exact environmental certifications you want to hunt for. For cotton, look for GOTS. That's GOTS certified or organic. If you're buying linen, look for European flax. For man-made fibers, seeing the words Tencel or lensing guarantees an eco-friendly closed-loop process. And if you absolutely need polyester, safe for sportswear, look for rPET, which means it was recycled from old plastic waste.
But please, remember this one powerful truth. Regardless of the fiber you choose, avoiding fast fashion is the ultimate goal here. The absolute most sustainable choice you can ever make as a consumer is simply to buy fewer garments, buy better quality, and then take really good care of them so they last for years and years. And now, Section 6, Note to Fashion Students. Let's talk about your responsibility. Before we wrap up, I want to speak directly to the undergraduate fashion and textile students watching this explainer. Please leave here today with this foundational truth. Every design decision is a fiber decision. Understanding your materials isn't just about passing a test or textbook memorization. It's an enormous responsibility, and frankly, it is your absolute greatest creative power as a future designer. Think about it. Your fabric choice dictates exactly how a garment moves, how it feels, and how it washes. And most importantly, it determines how that garment eventually leaves the world, whether it breaks down safely in the soil or pollutes the ocean for centuries. Modern consumers are demanding environmental honesty. Brands that understand their materials will build trust, while the ignorant ones will lose it. Developing deep fiber knowledge right now will make you an absolutely invaluable leader in a rapidly changing industry. I truly hope this explainer has given you real fashion freedom. So I'll leave you with this final thought. What fiber surprised you the most today? Take this knowledge, read those labels proudly, and use this understanding to own your future clothing choices. Thanks so much for learning with me today.